Okay. Lucy's making some tiny little
tiny
loop
baby
chains,
loops.
and I want to see the way you do your loops, Lucy.
Okay, so I start off with just kind of making it like that. I just kind of memorize where on the round nose pliers I want it to be in order to keep it even with the rest of the chain. So I have this little line, and I put my round nose right on the edge of the longer wire, and then bend that up so that it makes like a little, I don't know, right angle. And then I can just see a little bit that it's a little like off center, and I want it to be even and perfect. So I just twist this a little bit further down. So now it's like connected on all sides.
Hold that still. Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm going to take the end of my dainty little chain right here.
It's a very dainty.
It's very dainty. And I'm going to put the end loop onto this one, like so. I'm going to take my chain nose and I'm going to put them right in there. Kind of just have to use the tip because it's so tiny.
Tiny.
And then I just start off using my hand to just kind of bend this wire around in a circle. Sorry if you can't see it super well. It's a little bit hard to show. But I just use my hand for the first bit.
Because this is, what, 24 gauge gold fill?
Yeah.
So it's really soft.
Yeah. And then once I get down to just kind of a little bit left, I take the chain nose and I just kind of use that to bend it. Usually just kind of putting it on and squeezing it and then turning the loop so then it just kind of pushes it down as I go. Sorry, this is like so hard to show.
No, this is great.
So now it's almost down.
You're trying to get like 2 wraps?
Yeah, I usually try to keep it at 2. I think this one's at 3 just because I made the end a little bit long. But now it's all the way down on all sides and I like to make sure I can't feel it. So there's a tiny little loop. It's so tiny.
Good. So how did you know how much wire to leave to make that wrap?
At first, like, this is what happens.
You've done this many of them?
Yeah, this is what happens kind of every time. The first ones, I just end up cutting off the end to make it even because I just mess up how much I measure. But after a bit, I just kind of remember how much I leave. And also, like, nobody ever said that you can't just undo it. Sometimes I just make it flat again and then rebend it if they're not even in a way that I'd like. So, yeah, it's many little guys.
They're tiny. And
So
show me
tiny.
again which part of the round nose you used. Just the little teeny tip.
I use like, I don't know, what is that? Like I use right
Let's
there.
see you do the other side now.
Okay. So I like to leave my round nose like a little bit up above it. And yeah, about there is where the rest of these sat. I just kind of memorized it at this point. And then I like to bend the beaded part up first just to make it so then it's like as long as I want it to be.
Oh, you go that direction. I go
Yeah.
The other direction.
So like that, well, it's just so then I don't have to like measure it exactly. And then I take the long end and I make it so then this is like making a straight line around it. So like that basically. If you can see that. And it's like right up against the bead, which is on purpose. Then I take my round nose and I put them up against the like long, or I guess the wire that's going towards the chain. And I usually do this slightly off center. It just makes it like into a better little P shape, I guess, or whatever shape you want to call it. And then bend it vertical. So then now I have kind of like the same thing that I had when I started, where it's like the little loop on the end with the wire going to the side. And just that little bend left like just enough room right in there to make like 2 rounds around the wire. So now I just take this one's a little bit easier. Hold the little loop and then just use my hand to wrap it around the wire.
Those are good tips because oftentimes when you make wrap loops, I think the biggest issue is the loop being off center and then the wrap's not being tight.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so sometimes you just have to bend it a little bit off center, which makes the loop centered, I guess.
That's the trick right there.
Yeah, and then I went around twice on each side. And And then I'm just going to cut it like as close as I can to the wire, just to make it good. And then I just take the chain nose, and sometimes I go in with the round nose for this too, and just kind of bend in that little tail that I just made.
Mm-hmm.
So then I for sure like am not going to scratch anybody with this.
Awesome.
And also like if it's a little bit off center like this, just bend it centered, you know. And then there's another little tiny link.
Cutest. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you for your great instruction.
My great instruction.